Right, this is one of my sweet pea beds. It's not my main one, but it's a good one to use for practice. First of all, you need some strong posts. In the past I used to use canes strung together with wire and with various bits of bracing, and they always got blown over until one day I snapped and thought, this has got to stop. So I went for some met posts, 75mm, and in them I mounted a 75mm post. I think it was 2 meters high. I've got one at each end of the row, and between them I've strung wires which come from a cross post. Now, in the bed there are lines marked out 2 feet apart in which will go the sweet peas. 2 feet's rough, it doesn't have to be that close, just that's the conventional way of doing things. And at the top of the posts, the wires about 1 foot apart, and to which are attached canes, and the attachment we'll go into later after we've done the planting. Now we'll move on to the planting. I've already put 2 plants in, and they go in 8 inches apart, and now we'll do the next one. First one we're going to plant out just as it came in the grow tube, and the second one will be planted out. I'll spread out the roots. So there's 2 ways of doing this. Just extract it from the pot. Try not to break any roots off, as you can see. You can see the nodules are forming, so it makes it a bit difficult to get it out of the pot. There we have it, quite a nice healthy plant. In it goes. Nice and simply. Second way of doing it is to take the plant out of the pot and spread the roots out in a fan. So we just stick the spade in, and we've got a nice planting area here. Comes the plant, and this time we spread the roots out. And then they go in the hole. But I was going to mention the soil. Ideally you should have a nice fine tilth. As you can see, this is anything but. It's all horrible clay, but it's in nodules, and it means water and air can get down to the roots. It also emphasises why you shouldn't stand on the bed, because if you do, that will just go into a solid pan. So let's start off with a little bit of old compost in there, just so the roots got something in contact with the soil. The roots are spread out in the fan. Another drop of compost, and then see how wonderful it is. But I find sweet peas are marvellously tolerant of soil conditions, just so long as it's not compacted. They'll go quite well. Thing I forgot to mention before I put this in was to check that you've got a nice clean stem. Sometimes you'll find there's a brown ring around the stem. If it's like that, just chuck the plant away because it will expire very shortly. Those go in like that, and then they will need to be watered in. The next step is to put in the canes. I actually spoke too soon about the canes. I forgot. The other way of growing sweet peas is to grow several plants in a pot. It does mean you have to spend some time entangling the roots. Of course, important to keep your roots dry until you're ready to plant them. A plastic bag is very useful. You should really keep it out of the sun, but as we're going to do it almost immediately, we should be alright there. So out comes our soil. Compost in the hole. Choose our plant. It's not quite as good a root system as I would have hoped for, but it's okay. You see the plant is clean. So spread it out. Some compost compost back over it. And back in like before. And a drop of water. And now we can go on to the canes. Okay, now for the canes. We usually use 2-metre canes and use shorter ones. We just go into the ground, so close to the plant. And gently, just a little bit in. You notice it's well away from the roots. The roots go that way. The ball goes slightly that way. Cut off a length of twine. Make sure it's nice and tight so it can't slide sideways. And that's all there is to it, except it's a whole row to go. Once you've done all this, notice it's compacted where we've been walking. It's a good idea to fork that over and try to avoid walking on it again while it's wet. You shouldn't need to do much walking on it until the plants start growing up.